All right, moving right along in the customary system, we are going to talk about weight and how we, in the customary units, how we weigh things. We weigh things with pounds and ounces. And the most important line on this, I'm going to write over here, and you can write this on your paper too. 1 pound equals 16 ounces. That's the big conversion that you need to understand. Butter and margarine are sold in 1 pound packages. That contains 4 separately wrapped sticks. So here's the pound of butter, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4 sticks. How many ounces are each stick? What is the weight in ounces of 1 box? Well, 1 box, if it's 1 pound, what is the weight? 1 box equals 16 ounces. Well, if I know that this equals 16 total, I need to give it a little bit to each one of these. I'm going to divide 16 by 4 to figure out what the weight of 1 stick is. So 16 divided by 4, you got it, is 4 ounces. So to figure this out, Kimba buys a bag of flour that weighs 5 pounds. Complete the table. So every time I get a pound, how many ounces is it going to be? So just like I was telling you today in math workshop, the easiest way to fill a table out like this is to first figure out what 1 pound is equal to. That's 16 ounces. So figuring out the rest of these is pretty simple. 16 times 2, 16 times 3, 16 times 4, and 16 times 5. So you've got 32 ounces. You've got 48 ounces. You've got 64 ounces. And you have 80 ounces. So to answer this question, how many ounces are equal to 5 pounds? You've got 80 ounces. Oh, I guess it goes on this line. So now, how would you describe this? What are you doing? How would you do this without having to fill in this table? What if I just wanted to know, 5 pounds equals how many ounces? What would you do? What is your thought process? Well, what did we do? We multiply the number of pounds by 16 to find the number of ounces. Pretty straightforward, because we know that 16 ounces represents 1 pound. So when Martin weighed his dog in April, the dog weighed 384 ounces. When he weighed the dog in August, the dog weighed 432 ounces. How many ounces did Martin's dog gain between April and August? Well, that's a subtraction, right? 12 take away 4 is 8. Can't take away 2. 12 take away 8, 48. Now what if I wanted to be crazy and I wanted to know how many pounds that is? What would you do? You might divide 48 by 16. And we've already done this up here. So we know that 16 times 3 equals 48. So this would equal just a little extra tidbit for you so that you can be a little smarter. Why don't you turn the page and let's talk a little bit about how to weigh heavy things. Because if we are just talking about pounds and we're getting into like 10,000 pounds, that's a lot of pounds. There's got to be another unit of measure we could use that would help us with this. Well, there happens to be one. It's called a ton. It's not just a saying, it's an actual thing. 1 ton equals 2,000 pounds. So it's going to be easy to make some conversions here because they're nice numbers. Let's look at the first one. In heavy items, cars, trucks, boats, elephants, whales. Not necessarily things that are over 2,000 pounds is probably when you want to start using the term ton. A ship weighs 12,450 tons. In pounds, the ship weighs 24,900,000 pounds. Which measure would you use to describe the weight of the ship and why? What do you think? I'm thinking I would use tons because isn't that one a lot easier to read? Tons would be the better unit of measure because it is much easier to read. I'm hoping that you are able to give me a thumbs up that you agree with that. Saying, hey, this ship is 24,900,000 pounds is a lot harder to say than 12,450 tons. It's a little easier, right? Well, a trailer can carry 2 tons of cargo. How many pounds of cargo can the trailer carry? Well, we know 1 ton is 2,000 pounds. So what would 2 tons be? 2 times 2,000 would be 4,000. I know you said it before I wrote it, because that's the kind of kids you are. 1 cargo container weighs 4 ounces. A shipment of cargo containers, total of 1 ton. Ooh, this one's hard. How many cargo containers are in the shipment? 1 cargo container weighs 4 ounces. Okay, so we need to know, first of all, how many containers are in 1 pound. So 1 pound of containers equals how many containers? Because we know 16 ounces is 1 pound, right? So 4 times 4, that's going to be 4 containers for every pound. You with me so far? 4 containers for every pound. So if I have 2,000, it says 1 ton. If I have 2,000 pounds, I have to multiply by 4. I'm going to have 8,000 containers. That would equal 1 ton. Hopefully you saw those steps. If you don't, or you didn't, and you're like, what did she just do? Pause me, roll me to the left, listen to me again. That might give you a clearer picture. So these are pretty easy conversions. For me, I'm going to do a couple with you and have you do a couple. I'm going to start at the bottom because it's one of the harder ones. 19 pounds equals how many ounces? 19 pounds equals how many ounces? Well, I know, and I'm going to write this from the other page, 1 pound equals 16. And you might see ounces like this, OZ. That is the abbreviation for ounces. So if I know I have 19 of these, I need to multiply that 16 times. There's 16 ounces for each one of these pounds. 4, carry the 5, 9, and 1. So 304 ounces. Ooh, let's try the next one. 9 tons. 9 tons. So I know for each ton, I have 2,000 pounds. And I want to know how many pounds are in 9 of these. So I need to do 2,000 times 9. That's 18,000. 12 pounds. How many ounces? So I got to go 12, 16 for each one of those 12. $192 ounces. I'm going to leave these 3 for you to try on your own. Look at our what we know, use what we know to figure out what the answer is, and we will go over these in Math Workshop. Please remember to go to Google Form on Haiku and submit that because it is part of your homework. All right? Keep up doing the great work. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.